Hey, what's up guys? I'm Ben with Rough Country, and today we're working on a 2012 stock JK. Now the owner of the Jeep wants to get a set of 33-inch tires on this JK, and he's picked some Nitto Terra grapplers. And to answer a question we get all the time, how much lift do I need for 33s? Well, on JK, we're going to install Rough Country's 2.5-inch lift kit. So first step on the install, of course read the instruction sheets, but secondly, we start by disconnecting the sway bar link and then the brake line on the frame mount. Next, we're going to remove the lower mount of the shock, and once we have all this disconnected, we can get the coil spring out. Now, if you have trouble getting your factory coil out, you can remove the track bar bolt on the axle side, and it'll drop the axle a little further. That will also help you get the longer coils in. Once you've got the coil spring in, you're going to put on your shock bracket for the front shock, which goes on the lower mount. It has a bolt there that pushes through the lower, and a sleeve that you put in where the shock used to go. Once you've got those bolts in, you can tighten down the shock, and that's done. We've got our shock bracket on, we've got our coil spring in. We're going to go back to our sway bar link, and we're going to put it back into the sway bar. Now that our sway bar links are in, the shock is in, the last step, of course, is the brake line bracket. For this brake line bracket to work, you have to straighten out your hard line there, and you're just going to bend it to a straight line instead of it having that 90 in it. With the brake line bracket on, the front is complete, and we can move to the back. Just like on the front, first step, we've got to take the lower mount of our shocks off. Actually, on the rear, we're going to remove the whole shock. Next is our sway bar link. The reason for removing the whole shock on the rear is that the shock extension for the back of the Jeep goes on the upper mount. Now that we have our shocks off and our sway bar links loose, we're going to remove the axle side bolt on the track bar to give us enough droop to get these new coil springs in. Now that the Rough Country springs are installed, we can go ahead and put on our shock extension. If you notice, we go ahead and put the extension up first, minus the shock. With the extension already mounted, you just place the bar pin in the shock up, put your bolts through, tighten those down, and the upper is done. Now that the upper is up, we're going to go ahead and reattach our sway bar links. And the last step on the rear is to reinstall the track bar. With the front complete, new coil springs, shock extensions on the lower, and on the rear, we've got new coil springs and shock extensions on the upper. Takes our Jeep from this to this. Now you tell me which looks better. For Rough Country Suspensions, I'm Ben, and we'll see you later.